and run for mayor. Because we need a mayor who is from Detroit, who loves Detroit, who knows Detroit, who cares about the people in the city of Detroit, and this is his home. And he said, then if you don't do this, I'm going to have to do it because I don't believe anyone else has those same sentiments that I have. So I want to thank Judge Mathis for cheering my campaign. He's not just involved, he's the boss of the campaign. So let me tell you why I'm here. Many of you may have heard my mother on a commercial.
Yes.
When I said I was going to run for mayor, my mother called me over, and y'all know how y'all do y'all children. My mother called me to the kitchen table. She sat there at the kitchen table, and she said, son, why are you doing this? She said, today, people love you. People respect you. They care about you. That is the toughest job in America. Why would you put yourself through this when you have a great job as sheriff? I looked my mother in the face and told her, I said, Mama, I'm doing it for people like you. You're 78 years old, you've been in this house, you raised your children. This is not the town that you raised me in. We need someone who understands what this community used to look like. We need someone who understands what we have lost as a community. How can you give me what I've lost if you don't know what it is? I know what this community used to be like. I know what it's like today. I've lived the Detroit experience because I've been here all my life. Guess what I have over the last years, as the judge talked about, how this has changed. I had a vacant house next door to me for 3 years. I had to cut the grass. I had street lights on my street that had been out for weeks and months at a time. I've had my grass in front of my house so high and in the playground around the corner that my grandson can't go to that park and play. I've had slow police response. I've had two sisters who was carjacked at gunpoint on the side of my mother's house. My auntie lady got robbed at gunpoint planting flowers in front of her house. My car, a month ago, my daughter drove it to church. Came out of church and somebody tried to take the wheel off of my own car. I have lived this experience that you have lived. No one is more committed to changing this and making this community better because we need someone who understands us, who loves us, and is doing it for the right reason. I did not just come into this community and say, oh, well, you've been going through this for all this time. Now I'm going to step into Detroit and fix you. I've been coming to Detroit for 30 years now, but you left every day for 30 years. You didn't stay here and deal with what we've had to deal with. So listen, and that's all they talking for. In the city of Detroit, in churches, in restaurants, in grocery stores, in drugstores, all over this community, folks have told me they're looking for the mayor to do some very important things, and in no particular order. One, they're telling me that we need to educate our babies better. Our children need to have opportunities that they don't have now because they need to have a job to go to with good wages and good benefits. We all know that there was a time in this community where you could get out of high school, walk into Ford, Chrysler, General Motors, even a little place called American Motors that made the paper in the grocery. We can't do that today. Those jobs don't exist. We are dealing with a knowledge-based economy where people learn that you have to be educated, savvy to get these kinds of jobs. I have a phone that I carry with me. They say it's really advanced. I know how to turn it on, and I can do 2 or 3 screens with it. I give it to my 6-year-old grandson, and he's a wizard. He can mess with it for hours. In fact, my daughter saw him playing on it one day, and she said, Malachi, you better leave that thing alone, because I'm not paying for anything you buy on that. He looked at you, and he stopped. He looked up and said, that's okay, my papa's going to pay for it. And he's probably right. I didn't really care, but he's on this thing playing with it. So, the fact is, we need to get all of our children technologically savvy so they can plan for the jobs of the future. The next thing they're saying is that we need jobs, but we need jobs in the neighborhood. We need to have our economic hemisphere right here in Detroit for Detroit. We need to have a neighborhood. We used to walk up, I grew up on the east side of Michigan. I could walk up on Mack Avenue and get almost anything I wanted, legal and illegal. But if we had stores, we had dining galleries, we had all kinds of dentist offices and doctors. They were right here in our neighborhood where people work. We need to get that back. And how we're going to do that, we're going to make it easy, we're going to make it quick, and we're going to make it safe to do business in the city of Detroit. We're going to cut the red tape, roll out the red carpet, and welcome businesses into our community, because we need to have businesses where the people live. As the judge said, downtown has been booming. They brought 6,000 jobs from Blue Cross, got quick loans to us. How many of them got tricked into the neighborhood? None. You need a man who's focused on the neighborhoods where we live. So we're going to educate our children. We're going to create jobs, ladies and gentlemen. This is very important to me. This next thing folks are telling me, because down the street from where my mother lives, in a house that she's been in since 1950. So that's going on 53 years. Really, 53 years in September. I drive down the street and I don't recognize the street. I know this town is dirty. We need to clean it up. Our children, you, me, we should not have to ride down the street, look at the things that we see on the streets of this community. So we have to clean it up. I introduced President Obama last year about this time in this campaign. And we were in Dearborn, Michigan at a big rally. During the course of that introduction, I had an opportunity to meet with them. And when I met with the president, I told him, I said, the city of Detroit needs help. We need help with police, fire, and EMS. We need more police officers to make this community safe. But, Mr. President, we also need some money to clean it up. This community does not look like the community that we want to raise our children in and that we want to live in our own community. We need to clean it up. The president said, didn't he called the sheriff back. The sheriff, I appreciate that. I'm on it's on my radar screen, and I promise you we're going to look at it after the election. If any of you saw his inaugural speech, he mentioned one city.
Detroit.
One city alone.
That's it, bitch.
That was the city of Detroit. And I'd like to take credit for that.
Okay.
But I'm sure I'm not the only person that fits this, but he did. He registered with the president. So I know that the moment I'm elected mayor of the city in November, I'm going to get on a plane and I'm going to fly to Washington and say, Mr. President, I'm back. You said you had us on your radar screen. We need your help to clean this town up. But ladies and gentlemen, we can educate our children, we can create jobs, and we can clean this town up. None of that matters if you're not safe. You cannot leave this building in safety. It doesn't matter if it's clean. It doesn't matter if you have a job. It doesn't matter if there are good schools to educate our children. When you have deacons being murdered in parking lots of churches, when you have parishioners getting robbed getting on a church bus, when you have a bishop getting robbed and his pants cut off of him over at the gas station, and the former chief of police can't even mow his lawn in front of his house, there's something very wrong. We have to correct that mentality. We have to do something about the violence that exists in this community. So those are the things that I focused on. So how are we going to do this? You got my mother square mile. All right, thank you. So we have a square mile initiative. You should have one of those on your table. In each square mile of the city of Detroit, we're going to assign a police officer.
Wow.
The city of Detroit is 137 square miles. There's 2,600 police officers. So somebody can tell you we don't have enough, they don't know what they're talking about. We can put a police officer in every square mile of the city of Detroit. What is that officer going to be responsible for doing? When those of us who live in that neighborhood know we got some serious issues. One, abandoned cars. We have cars that stay on the street of this community for weeks and years at a time. That officer is going to be responsible for getting that car out right away. You also got, we talked about blight, we have stores, we have businesses, we have a lot of people who are making money in our community who don't cut their grass, who don't pick up the trash, and leave graffiti on their building. This officer is going to make sure that everybody inside of that square mile is a good neighbor. We also have issues with some houses that have children that may not be so friendly. This officer will knock on that door and say, hey, keep your kids in check. So you as a neighbor don't have to get involved in any kind of conflict with them. We'll let a police officer do that. All of those little things, we're going to know every church pastor, every school principal, every business owner, every community organization, and every citizen in this square mile, this person will know. Because they're going to be there every single day. That's going to be their job, to know everybody in that square mile. It's not that big. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's how you eat an elephant. So that's what this person is going to do. It's going to change the quality of life in our community. Responsible, and we're going to get corporate sponsors. All these big corporations run around talking about they love Detroit. We're going to have them come in and sponsor Square Mile and help the citizens keep Square Mile. We're going to have some walls to participate.
Yes.
All right. So that's how we're going to do it. I know you got questions. Because they owe Detroit a lot of money. $27 million. Right. Let me tell you this. Last week, I got a bill from the city for about $2,000.
Pouring it. Okay.
So I politely sent them a copy of my taxes and my W-2
I don't know how to do it.
And I told them, well, I was going to show the $15 broke. Money I should know. I won't buy $15. I'm just kidding.
Push this button.
I gotta say, they gotta say. All right? I'm gonna go get that money with you. All right?
All right, next one, yes.
You got to defer to your